Hey, everybody, it's Tony George along with my good buddy, ex-NFL quarterback Sean Salisbury, current host of the Sean Salisbury Show on iHeartRadio, the best sports talk show in the country. And wow, he's got a lot to talk about down there in the Houston area right now. And, of course, being a Red Sox fan as well, be sure and tune in tomorrow as Sean and I are going to be breaking down some Major League Baseball for you. So we'll leave that for tomorrow. But today we're talking Week 6 NFL and my hometown, beloved Kansas City Chiefs on the road, laying 7 points here in this ball game at the Washington football team, and the total around 55.5. Sean, let me ask you a question. With that defense of Kansas City's, what the hell are they doing laying 7 on the road to anybody unless it's Jacksonville?
I think that Vegas is expecting at some point the Chiefs are going to have an out-of-body defensive experience. That's what I think. Okay. Now, I'm with you, and that's why that number, that laying 7, still concerns me. I think they're also thinking, well, while the defense for Washington knows how to get after the quarterback and play pretty well, although they're still waiting for Chase Young to have that 3 or 4 game explosion, right? That with the rest of their offense now, while Taylor Heineke's played pretty decent football, he had a rough one last week as far as completion percentage, and you always have Mahomes. So if it's close, they can throw themselves back into it. But I think it's a dangerous number, Tony. I do. But I don't know how much I love it. If it was a home, I'm not even sure right now the way the Chiefs are playing defense and struggling a little bit that I'm not sure 7 at home is that big a deal. But it is Washington, and I know they've struggled. But I like the bigger number, the over-under better in this football game. I do. And it's tough and a lot going on in Washington, as we well know. A lot going on in Washington that goes all the way out to Vegas, we know. But on the football field, Heineke gives them some juice. But the Kansas City Chiefs, at some point, Tony, as a pro, Kansas City Chiefs got to pull their head out of their backside and play some defense and get tired of all the chatter. Because I got to tell you right now, you know how I love them and Andy Reid and Mahomes and hold them in the highest regard. I can tell you there's 5 teams minimum in the NFL that are better than they are right now. Minimum. 5 teams. That if they played, and the saving grace is Mahomes and Andy Reid, that Pat can keep you around. But I can go. I'd take the Rams in that game. I'm telling you, even on neutral side, I'd take. Hell, the way Lamar Jackson's playing, he's inhuman right now. I mean, guy's the most. He's the most difficult guy to game plan against, and is probably the most dynamic player in the league. Arizona's playing well, although we'll see. I mean, we keep saying when is that going to happen, but they're 5-0 now. But I look at Tampa Bay. I look at Buffalo. We've already seen the Chargers. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs, I wouldn't touch them in the top 5. I don't even think they're going to win the division the way their defense is playing, and that's a long ways away. They got a lot to fix.
Yeah, a couple of things I was going to comment on your takes there. Number one is they're not even the best team in their division.
Agreed.
Mean, the Los Angeles Chargers, you and I have stated this more than once on these shows that Herbert's going to be a superstar in this league. He already is. Eckler, great player, all-around back, can do it all. They got receivers that are big, tall, go up, get the ball. They're physical. Their defense is 3 times better than Kansas City's. I would have said the way the Raiders started out, now I'm not going to get into the John Gruden discussion at all here. Just leave politics out of it. But at the end of the day, I thought until last week, that the Raiders were playing better football last couple of weeks, and they looked like crap on Monday night against the Chargers. And the 2 best teams other than the Chargers in that division were the Raiders and the Chiefs, and they beat them both. Kansas City kind of handed them a ball game there with 3 turnovers. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is if you're given turnovers, even when you're on the road and you convert them into scores, you did what you were supposed to do. So you could say that Kansas City gave him the game, or you could say that San Diego, the Chargers capitalized on opportunities that the Chiefs gave them,
Agreed.
And that's exactly what happened there, Sean. And there's 2 things I've noticed about Kansas City. They have an inability to run the football, and now they've lost Elaire for a while. Williams is a pretty good back. No doubt, I like him. He's a good back, but he's not the same dynamic back. They can't run the football. Second of all, Mahomes is turning the ball over, Sean. You play quarterback in the NFL. He's had, 13 picks this year? I mean, you cannot win football games, even at home, throwing up picks like he's throwing up, Sean.
Yeah, and Tony, with that, here's what happens. And we've seen he spoiled us, right? Protects the football and throws 45 touchdowns. I mean, the guy is a phenomenal player and talent. But at some point in a season or in a run, this is a bad combo. You don't play defense, you don't run the football. Guess what? And the other guys in your division are getting better. When the pressure falls on you every time. See, we've gotten to the point that shame on Pat to throw the ball to the other team because we're so used to him making throws to his team and a tip ball here and a tip ball there. And before you know it, if he doesn't play perfect right now, Tony, I don't know how they win. If he's not playing lights out, I'm not sure how they win. So for me, the turnovers are going to happen. And at some point, you had to see that he was going to have, at some point, be not just always the fantasy guy, where he was going to have some games in his career where he went through some times, man. Especially, I think about the burden he's carrying in Lamar Jackson. Is there two quarterbacks in the world right now that carry, like, for instance, Cleveland, as good as Baker Mayfield can be, they can run, they do a lot of good things. Tampa, with all the weapons, of course, Brady matters, but I think they can hang around in games, right? We're about to see if Russ Wilson's deposit, even though they're not playing, Russ Wilson being off Seattle is going to affect them greatly too. But there's a handful of those guys, and Pat gets to a point, and now they're playing a Washington team. If you're playing Kansas City, what's your focus right now? You're not really the run. Yeah, you got to stop, but you got to make sure Mahomes doesn't take over and dominate the game with big old chunk throws and tackle. And other than that, you can win. I'm telling you that you keep relying. Eventually, a quarterback's got to have some human stuff to him and throw it to the other team once in a while. I like the under in the game. I do. I think Washington, even if they score 28, meaning Kansas City, Washington hangs 21. We're still in the under, and I'm not sure. Even though Kansas City's defense, at some point they got to say, I got to take care of Dad now, which means Patrick Mahomes, who's been carrying them. The reverse is where the kid has to take care of the parent, right? Well, that's what it is got to be for them. I'm leaning more towards, I get always nervous when Mahomes is in a game because he's so good at having one of those 5 touchdown games. So I'm staying away from laying the points. I'm taking the under in this football game. On the road, Washington will get after it if they can force a few more turnovers and get off the field on defense. I think this is in the low 50s, the number, but just in under the number. I like the under in this game.
Yeah, I do too. You have the 30th ranked and the 27th ranked defense, which on the surface, when you look at that, it's an automatic buy sign on the over. But just it's one of those things where it's the old Lee Corso saying, not so fast, my friend. And that's definitely where we're at right now. I would take Washington in a 2-team 6-point teaser to this week, get them to plus 13, because Kansas City's not, Ron Rivera is a good old school ball coach. And what he's seen is Kansas City can't run the ball, and people are doubling up on Hill now because the threat of the run isn't there. We had the threat of the run for numerous years there. The first couple of years with Mahomes, we got to the Super Bowl, so we had the threat of the run, and that keeps people honest. But when you're not attempting to run the football and you're relying on him to get it done, and you're able to double one of the most dynamic and quickest wide receivers and biggest playmakers in the league and kind of take him, he'll have 5 or 6 catches for 56 yards. Kansas City can't thrive when those are Hill's numbers. And you got Kelsey banged up this weekend with a head injury a little bit still. Hill's nursing some injuries. Kansas City can't tackle grandma with a shopping cart at Costco right now. Defensively, Sorensen is a horrible safety. That they just got problems. I think Andy Reid's going to go in here looking for a good, solid ball game. He's going to try and run the football, take the pressure off, open up some passing lanes. be able to have some success with play action, Sean. But at the end of the day, I agree with you. Washington is not an offensive juggernaut. Kansas City's having problems all over the board here. I could easily see a 24-17, 24-20, 28-21 type ball game. All those fall under the total for you. So that's what we're going to take a look at here this week with Sean Salisbury. He likes the under. I'm saying stick Washington in a teaser for your free NFL pick. Be sure and get over to Docs. Take advantage of that free $60 we got for you. Link in the description below. Sean Salisbury. Follow him at Sean Unfiltered on Twitter. There's going to be a lot of banner on Twitter right now from Sean Salisbury with what's going on down there in the baseball world in his neck of the woods. And, of course, to add salt to the wound, since I'm an American League guy, he also likes a friggin' Boston Red Sox. So he's in hog heaven right now.
50-year fan, brother. 50-year fan of the Red Sox. So I really can't lose in this series. But the DNA says Boston, but the flagship in my love for the Astros says we're in for one hell of a series now. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. Take a lot of overs in that one, I can tell you that. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a great series. It's not going to be boring, I can tell you that. It's not going to be 2-1 ball games, and it's going to be some fireworks there. And Sean and I are going to talk about that on our I don't even know what day of the week it is, on our Thursday video here.
Thursday.
So be sure and tune in. We'll preview those series and talk about that one. So, folks, and, of course, he's going to be talking about that each and every day on his radio show, iHeartRadio, the Sean Salisbury Show. Get over there. It's the best sports talk show on the planet. Thanks for tuning in.